Nintendo has announced just a few days ago that they will be discontinuing the 3DS and Wii U eShops in March 2023. So of course, I had to make a list of games worth picking up before they do. I'm actually planning on making several of them, but I'll get into more detail later. First, welcome to the channel. This is From the Void. Okay, first, let's take a look at their statement here. They say that this change will take effect over 1 year from now, in late March 2023, and that anyone will still be able to re-download any game they already had purchased even after that date, as well as download software updates. Now, we all remember that Sony also did the same thing less than a year ago, and then went back on their decision after receiving backlash. But I don't think that Nintendo is gonna back down. They already have a track record for this. Remember, they already closed the Wii digital shop, and they're taking a little bit of more precautions than Sony, at least giving us a lot more time to decide what to do about this than Sony did initially. This is for sure a disappointing turn of events, not because of the discontinuations themselves, but because of the lack of a proper virtual console option in their current system, the Switch. With both the 3DS and the Wii U digital stores closing, that's it for virtual console, and that's a far superior option for game preservation than the online subscription on the Switch. For many reasons, we actually own the games in virtual console, while the subscription allows Nintendo to remove any game at any time. The sheer amount of released games on the virtual console is far superior. But anyway, the fact of the matter is that we're losing access to officially acquire over 600 games that are digital exclusives to the 3DS and Wii U. Luckily, we still have the option to emulate, which Nintendo only helps justifying the need for with this kind of decision. And there are loads of excellent games on those catalogs, many of which are still deep buried hidden gems. And that's the purpose of this video, or rather, this series of videos, because there is so much to cover that I will have to make multiple uploads. In order to get this first one out faster and also to make it more digestible, I am splitting this first list into 2 videos with 25 games each. I'm calling these Part 1A and Part 1B, where I will be concentrating on 3DS exclusives and whether they are digital only or also have a physical version that has been getting expensive, and will probably get much more soon. Part 1B is almost ready, it should be out in 3 days tops, and then Part 2 will be focusing on the Wii U, and a possible Part 3 will probably be on Virtual Console for both systems. And believe me, I have enough here to keep going for a while. The amount of great games on the 3DS and Wii U eShops is staggering, believe me. So do let me know if you would be interested in a Wii U list and a Virtual Console one down in the comments. And that's enough squabbling, let's get to the list. Now, a very obscure hidden gem from Suda51 that deserved much more attention: Liberation Maiden. This is a mecha shooter, Zone of the Ender style, with a unique and blissful gameplay. You use both the stylus as well as the circle pad to control your mecha. I realize there will be a part of the audience who dislikes this control scheme, but if you're not among them, trust me, this is fantastic for a shooter. You move around with the circle pad, and with the stylus, you pick and lock targets, and once you let go of it, you shoot them all at once like Star Fox. It works amazingly well, super intuitive, and what makes it even better is that by holding L, you enter strafe mode, where she kinda locks her vision to one direction, allowing for a more focused combat. This is actually really cool. Evading and destroying homing missiles coming your way is very thrilling. The story is bonkers. You are the president of New Japan, as Japan has been taken by the Dominion, whatever they are, and you have to liberate it from them by using a flying mecha. Yep, you are a mecha pilot president of Japan. Splendid. Liberation Maiden is a great game and on the cheap side too, going for $7.99, and it's a 3DS digital only exclusive. Following up with Radiant Historia, Perfect Chronology. Now, this is a highly recommended RPG and still somewhat of a hidden gem. Perfect Chronology is an enhanced remade version of the original Radiant Historia on the DS. So if you haven't played the original, go straight for this one as it offers improved graphics, new music tracks, an even better battle system, difficulty options, and most notably a third timeline. If you don't know, this game is all about time travel, much like Chrono Trigger actually, but the ripples and repercussions of your actions are much more intrinsically implemented than Chrono Trigger. It's quite outstanding actually. This game has one of the best endings in all RPGs I've ever played, depending on your decisions. Plus the battle system is fantastic and loads of fun. You can push and pull enemies in the grid so they occupy the same square, and then you dish out a powerful attack and hit all of them at once. It's awesome. And very challenging too. The damage you take is always very high, so a couple of blows is enough to knock one of your characters down. It's a fantastic game right here. Again, highly recommended. The physical version is going for almost $80, so if you want a discount, go for the digital for half that price. You can also opt for the DS version for $30 as per price charting, but remember that it doesn't have a bunch of features included in the remake. Then, Nano Assault EX. This is an excellent shooter that deserved more recognition. The entire series is great. It started on the DS with the Nano Stray games, and EX is probably the best one of them. It's an enhanced version of Nano Assault that came out on retail for the 3DS, but EX is a digital exclusive with several improvements to the visuals and the gameplay. The visuals are worth a mention for sure because these are shooters that take place on a cellular level, and I think this is a great idea for the genre. You'll be fighting off microorganisms that can be very menacing from this perspective. The best gameplay feature included is that you can turn this into a twin-stick shooter if you have a new Nintendo 3DS model by using the C-stick thing. To my knowledge, this is the best use of the C-stick in any game. Make that C-stick work for once and get Nano Assault EX, a fantastic game. Received universal praise with really high scores. It goes for $9.99 and is a 3DS digital only exclusive. Now, a fantastic hidden gem that has gotten prohibitively expensive in its physical form. Rhythm Thief and the Emperor's Treasure. This is one of the best rhythm games ever, probably. The presentation is simply 10 out of 10, with great looking anime cutscenes, and the rhythm sections work perfectly well with the stylus. Emulation for this game is not gonna cut it, because replicating the stylus strokes with your mouse is bound to suck. So either get this legit or jailbreak your poor 3DS. In any case, this is a deeply charming rhythm game with some of the best songs to sing to, and enough people must have realized that to the point that this game is one of the more expensive 3DS titles physically. It's going for over $110 according to price charting. Meanwhile, the digital version is way less expensive and quite fairly priced at $19.99. Next is the Boy Trilogy. These are 3 fantastic puzzle games, seriously. There are 4 in total on the BoxBoy series, with the original 3 being 3DS digital-only exclusives, while the 4th one is for the Nintendo Switch. They're all made by HAL Laboratory, so you know they're quality games. The gimmick here is simple, yet brilliant, as it tends to be with the best puzzle games. You control a square-shaped creature capable of creating cubes beyond itself, which he can use as ladders, bridges, platforms, or even ropes to pull himself to unreachable places. And this gimmick is used to its full potential and then some. The sequel, BoxBox Boy, allows you to create more than one set of boxes, which complicates things a lot, and the third one, Box Boy, introduces 3 types of boxes with unique properties, like jet propulsion and teleportation. These games are fantastically addictive and great for small sessions as well. If you like puzzle games and haven't played them yet, just go ahead and do it. Each one goes for $4.99 digitally, which is a very fair price for all of them. These are not found anywhere else in any shape or form. Next is one of those titles from Game Freak that are not Pokemon, and this is among the best ones for sure, HarmoKnight. This is a surprising game, let me be very clear about that right now. It's a lengthy and thoroughly enjoyable rhythm game that is not satisfied in the slightest in simply throwing notes at the player to be hit at the right time. It transforms the act of playing on a tempo to a platforming game where you'll have to defeat enemies and jump over obstacles or on top of platforms, and it does it impressively well because of the great level designs that this game has. It becomes challenging and rewarding very early on, introducing special stages that change the perspective and boss fights that will try to take all your hearts away. This is a fantastic rhythm game, a great option even for those who need something more to get interested in one of those. It's a 3DS digital exclusive going for $14.99, which may seem overpriced, but trust me, the content here justifies even more than that, with a lengthy story, multiple characters, and a hefty amount of bonus content. Next is a rather obscure series of excellent Nintendo-published titles exclusive to the 3DS, the Dillon Rolling Western Trilogy. These are a mix of 3 things: action, tower defense, and rolling around Majora's Mask's Darmani style. Hell yeah! So this is how it works. You control Dillon with both the circle pad as well as the stylus. To charge a roll, very Sonic-like, you stroke down and hold the stylus. Then you release it and control his direction with the circle pad, being able to break at any time. Gameplay loop-wise, during the day you roam around outside of town to find mines and gather resources to be traded in to increase the village food source, build defenses to the towns, repair and improve them. Then at night, the raids begin, with several enemies approaching town at the same time. You intercept them and a separated battle begins, where you must defeat all enemies on screen. Even during those battles, the remaining enemies in the map are still approaching town, so you gotta be fast. And after the raids, you can take on side quests and purchase new skills and such. It's a lot of fun. The second entry, Dillon Rolling Western The Last Ranger, introduces team-up options with other rangers, as well as sections where you defend a moving train instead of a town, which is very cool. Then the third one, Dillon's Dead Heat Breakers, which is a pretty cool name, is by far the more refined in the trilogy, with many different activities to get resources for building your defenses, and especially race battles that are freaking fantastic. All 3 are great games with pretty cool, unique, and bold styles of gameplay, sure to keep you busy and amused for a long time. In the Americas, they are all 3DS digital-only exclusives, with the third one having gotten physical copies in Europe only. The original goes for $9.99, The Last Ranger is $10.99, and Dead Heat Breakers jumps up to $39.99, which is a bit too much, even though the game is great, especially considering that the European exclusive physical copy is going for dirt cheap at around $5. Too bad the 3DS is not region free. If you have an European 3DS, $5 is a steal for Dead Heat Breaker. Pick it up immediately. Next, a Nintendo published title that pretty much no one knows about. Sakura Samurai Art of the Sword. This is a formidable game, but also a very challenging and demanding one, so be advised, if you're impatient, don't even try. I suck at this game now, because I played it many years ago and completely forgot how to play it. So this footage is not making the game any justice, I apologize. This is an action adventure with a heavy emphasis on the precision requirements for the combat. It's all about timing your inputs and reading the tells of the enemies, then striking when they lower their guard. In the beginning you will hate it, most likely, because like I said, it's a tough and demanding mechanism, but as you learn what you can do and how, the game becomes immensely satisfying. It's not by chance that Nintendo published this. It's a fantastic addition to the 3DS eShop library, totally worth playing if you like hard games. And for the amount of content, the price is a steal at $7.99. This is exclusive to the 3DS and it's digital only. Next is the Pushmo Trilogy. Yeah, there's a trilogy of Pushmo games on the 3DS. Similarly to the Boy Trilogy, the Pushmo games are puzzle platformers that provide a lot of value. You control Mallow, who can push and pull blocks of infinite shapes and sizes in order to create a way up for himself to reach the goal where there is a child trapped inside a block. In the original, he can pull each block 3 rows back, get on top of it, and push the next one 2 rows and the next one 1 row. But you can also pull them from the side, which is a fantastic twist that makes the whole thing much more interesting and challenging. Plus, of course, they keep adding new stuff like ladders that kind of teleport you around, switches that push all blocks of the same color forward, and so on. The second game, Crashmo, allows you to move the camera freely, which is great, and blocks with no support underneath now fall to the ground. And finally, the third one, Stretchmo, allows you to pull blocks in all 4 directions, which complicates things a lot. The original goes for $6.99, Crashmo costs $8.99, and Stretchmo is free to download and play the 7 first levels, but the rest of it will have to be bought separately, which sucks. I don't know why they did it like that. The entire pack of stages for Stretchmo will cost you $9.99, but you can also buy each one separately. Next is a very deeply buried hidden gem with the worst name that I only know because I'm looking at it right now, because this is the most generic title to a game I've ever seen. Ninja Battle Heroes. Yeah, awful title. It's 3 generic words put together. What were they thinking? Which makes it all the more surprising that this is actually an excellent game. It's an action platformer that looks and plays perfectly fine and even has a lot of replay value. You play as Saizo and a number of other heroes, all with different abilities in very satisfying stages with optional challenges to complete and a whole bunch of skills to unlock, which you will have to choose to equip before entering a stage. It's a great game. Don't let the name or the childish graphics fool you into thinking otherwise. Plus, it's one of the cheapest on the list, going for mere $2.99 exclusively on the 3DS digitally. Now for something completely different. Attack of the Friday Monsters, A Tokyo Tale. This is almost not a video game. There's almost no gameplay in it, so I would totally understand if you just cut me mid-sentence and moved on to the next entry. This was made by the same creator of the Boku no Natsuyasumi games, which never made out of Japan, but even so managed to get some Western recognition. These are life simulators, very chill, very therapeutic kind of games. In Attack of the Friday Monsters, you control a boy living in a town in the outskirts of Tokyo Tokyo. It's a very tiny little place where everyone knows everyone, and you run around delivering laundry because your parents run a laundry shop. You play cards with the other kids in town, which is the most action you will be getting in this game, and you try to solve a mystery that is not actually a mystery in the beginning, but let me tell you, in the end, things make the sharpest turn I've ever seen, and it's freaking awesome. Too bad I can't spoil it. It was a very pleasant experience to me, this game. Made me really feel what it's like to live in a small town in Japan, and I appreciated it for it very much. Too bad this is soon going away for good in an official capacity. But for now, it goes for $7.99 and it's a 3DS digital only exclusive. Following up with the two Dragon Quest games remade for the 3DS, Dragon Quest VII and VIII. Let's start with 7. This was a PlayStation 1 original that never got too much recognition outside of Japan, and I get the feeling that once again it was kind of ignored when they remade it for the 3DS, which is a travesty because this is a fantastic game. All Dragon Quest games are great, excellent, or masterpieces, and this one is probably between excellent and a masterpiece. It's a very unique type of RPG actually. The world in Dragon Quest VII starts off very small, it's only this one tiny island, but through your quest you'll be finding a bunch of puzzle pieces that unlock new islands. When you travel to a new island, you also travel in time, an uncertain amount of years in the past. Then you help out the people there, and once you're done, you travel back to the present and help the people in the same island but now in the present time. It's a very weird structure that also creates a very odd pacing in this game, but one that keeps you very interested because they explore this time travel very well. Also, some very unexpected things happen in the story, which I will not spoil of course, but it's pretty interesting. Gameplay wise, it returns to the vocation system, and this is the best one in the series probably. It's insanely deep, full of personalization options, especially if you decide to learn the monster vocations, which are very cool. Dragon Quest VII is a very unusual game, probably the weirdest in the series, but I love it. It's very long though, so be prepared. Then there is Dragon Quest VIII. This is the most famous entry in the series, still more than 11 I think. It was a PlayStation 2 original that got a lot of mainstream attention back in the day because it's fantastic. It's for sure a masterpiece. The remake was criticized because of the changes to the graphics and for the removal of the orchestrated soundtrack, which is a big bummer for sure. As for the graphics, I agree that the PlayStation 2 original looks better, but only slightly so in my opinion. This one also looks great to me. Plus, it adds a lot of new stuff. For sure, overcompensates the presentation drawbacks. There are several quality of life improvements. They re-included some of the religious elements from the Japanese original that were lost in the translation previously. There's an entirely new and long side quest, several new post-game features, and even 2 new characters to include in the party, which is beyond substantial of an upgrade. And given that the original was already a spectacular RPG, this is a must-play 110% for all RPG fans before they die. The problem is that both Dragon Quest 3DS remakes are now expensive in their physical form. Dragon Quest VII goes for $59 as per price charting, while Dragon Quest VIII is almost $100. So the digital versions that are expensive for $39.99 each could be a better option. Now the 2 Mario vs Donkey Kong games on the 3DS. One of these has a physical version, both on 3DS and Wii U, but it's exclusive to PAL territories. And both the Wii U as well as the 3DS are region locked for their own games, so these are digital exclusives for the most part, let's put it like that. We have Mario vs Donkey Kong Tipping Stars and Mario and Donkey Kong Minis on the Move. They are wildly different in terms of gameplay. Minis on the Move is actually a Pipe Dream style game. Remember Pipe Dream on the Game Boy? You drag tiles to form a path that the minis will walk on. There are loads of new features introduced that transform the Pipe Dream gameplay a lot. There are bombs to remove tiles, trash cans to discard unwanted tiles, magic tiles, keys and locks, you name it. It's a great game, and this is a digital exclusive to the 3DS everywhere. But if you're looking for a more traditional Mario vs Donkey Kong gameplay, fret not, because Tipping Stars is just that. It is pretty much exactly the same gameplay as Miniland Mayhem on the DS, which to me is when they perfected the formula for these games. Don't get me wrong, the original is also great, but I prefer this style even better. And the transition we got in March of the Minis was not very good at all. So this was great for me. Tipping Stars is my second favorite in the whole series. And this is the one that has a physical version only in Europe that goes for 55 bucks or 35 for the physical Wii U version. Yeah, this is not a 3DS exclusive, it's on the Wii U as well. And it goes for $19.99 on both systems digitally. Then Minis on the Move is 100% exclusive to the 3DS and digital only for $9.99. Next is a Zelda game I bet many of you don't even know about, and it's free. Yeah, a free Zelda game. Well, kinda. I'll explain. I'm talking about My Nintendo Picross: The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. Yeah, sorry for the letdown. I wanted to include this here because there will be people who are interested in getting all Zelda games they can. Plus, it's a great Picross game if you like those. It has several different modes, including Picrosses inside Picrosses, which is kinda crazy, and a good number of them to solve. If you're into this kind of game, you can do much worse than this one. To get this, you'll need to log into mynintendo.com and spend 1000 platinum coins for it. To get these damn platinum coins is easy, but it's also kind of annoying. You need to complete these stupid missions in the website, like finding the hidden pushies in the Yoshi's game page, logging into your 3DS and Wii U account once per week, and several others, and then claim the coins in the website. 1 year is way more than enough to get 1000 points. I think you can do it in 1 month or even less maybe. Since this game is not found anywhere else, I think it's worth the mention. This next one climbed up in price like crazy in its physical form. Professor Layton and the Azran Legacy. This is the conclusion of the prequel trilogy of the long-running Professor Layton franchise. The story really goes to some unexpected places in this one, which can be hit or miss because of how bonkers it gets. But both the gameplay as well as the presentation are fantastic. If you don't know, these are detective mystery solving types of games with a huge amount of mini puzzles as you go by unwrapping the secrets. I prefer Miracle Mask to Azran Legacy, but both are excellent titles. I'm only featuring Azran Legacy here because that's the one that climbed up in price to incredible $93 for the physical version according to price charting, which makes the digital version more attractive for $39.99. I agree it's still expensive, but beats the physical. Next are the two Kirby games only available digitally in the 3DS, Kirby's Fighters Deluxe and DDD's Drum Dash Deluxe. Let's start with DDD's Drum Dash. This is a standalone title that we got as an expansion to the minigame from Kirby Triple Deluxe. It is surely a fun rhythm game, very different from everything else actually, because DDD is always in the right tempo. The trick here is to press the 8 button to make him jump higher when hitting the drums in the bottom and occasionally hitting something in the air as well. This is much more fun and engaging than it sounds, believe me. If you press A when hitting a drum, DDD will jump higher and even higher a second time. So you gotta pay a lot of attention to where the coins are and decide how high you wanna jump. But the problem here is that the game is ridiculously short. It's over in an hour or so, even if you decide to do everything it has to offer. Meanwhile, Kirby Fighters Deluxe is a bit more substantial, and although not something anybody was asking for, it's a surprisingly fun brawler if played in short bursts, because it can get repetitive. This is basically a Super Smash style arena brawler, but with only Kirby and friends. The best part of it is to be able to have have Kirby always equipped with a specific copy ability that you can choose from a wide selection and mastering it. It's a great game for completionists too, as you unlock a myriad of collectibles as you play with each possible Kirby outfit. Both games on this entry are more on the shallow side, for sure, but also are not expensive, going for $6.99 each. These are expanded mini-games, both of them, so just don't go expecting a full game and you can have a good amount of fun with both. And that's it for part 1A, but don't worry because part 1B is coming soon, and after that I'll make a video on the Wii U as well. And if these do well, I can keep going because there's a lot to cover, believe me. So stay tuned, subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss out. And thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you soon.